Welcome everybody. In the last video lesson we talked about declaration and definition. Declaration is creating a variable and definition is assigning a value to your variable. A variable is a pigeonhole used for holding a value, and this value may vary, hence the name. So we also talked about implicit declaration and explicit declaration. As you can see on the screen, you can write your declaration and definition in the same line or in separate lines, as you can also see. In case of implicit declaration, the data type is specified during the definition. In other words, during assigning a value to your variable. For example, if the value is a number, the data type is a number. If the value is a string, the data type is a string. Okay, whereas in case of explicit declaration, the data type is specified during the declaration. Okay, so in this video lesson we are going to talk about concatenation, because in the last lesson we also talked about the different arithmetic operators, and you know, the plus sign can also be used, it can be used as a arithmetic operator when it comes to adding two numbers, for example, as you can see. So if you run this application, it is going to write the 30, because 10 plus 20 is 30. So .NET run, yes, 30. So you can also use the plus sign to concatenate, this is the concatenation, concatenate two strings, or a number and a string. So let's, for example, yeah, so let's convert 10 into a string using the quotes, and immediately you get this error, because in this case you have to use the implicit declaration here in line 11. So let's make it implicit using the var keyword. So now it is implicit, and also we have to use the implicit declaration here in line 30. So let's use the var keyword. So this is also implicit, and we should write the declaration and definition in the same line. So I'm going to cut this and paste it here, and I'm going to delete these lines. So now we are, as you can see, we are going to concatenate 10, which is a string now, with 20, which is a number. So let's run the application. And it should say 10, 20, as you can see, because we concatenated the two values. You can also do it like this. So for example, let's say John, and this is Smith. Okay, so John Smith. So now we are going to concatenate two string values. So .NET run. Yeah, we have John Smith. Or you can also concatenate a space between the first name and surname like this. So let's run the app again. John Smith. Now we have a space between the first name and the surname instead of this so-called cannot case. Okay. Now, the next thing we are going to do is a basic algorithm called summing up. So I'm going to delete these lines here. So we are going to sum up the numbers from 1 to nth. From 1 to the number the user is going to type in. Okay, the user is going to give. So first we should ask the user to give us a number. So we're going to use the console class, the writeLine method, and let's say please give me a number. Good. Now we have to declare our variables. We need a variable called n. This is going to be number for short. Okay, so we are going to call it n for short. And we are going to use the explicit declaration. So we are going to specify the data type during the declaration. So we are going to use the int keyword instead of the var keyword, because you use the var keyword when you apply the implicit declaration. Okay, so int n, and we are going to put the definition in the same line. So we are going to assign a value to it immediately. So, and the value is going to be the number the user is going to give us. So let's use the console class again and the readLine method. Okay, so readLine. Okay, something's wrong, as you can see. It says cannot implicitly convert type string to int. So to solve this problem, we are going to use int, the int keyword, and the parse method. And that is going to solve this error. Okay, like this. Okay, good. And we have another variable which is going to contain, because you know, the variable is a container, so it is going to contain the number, the result, actually the result. So int, let's call it x, okay, and the initial value is going to be 0. Now, as quite frequently you will need to repeat actions or step through parts of your data, you will need to use a loop. The most common one is the for loop, which typically uses a variable known as the counter or the index to keep track of how many times the loop has been executed, and it stops when the counter reaches a certain number. So we are going to use the for loop, and as you can see, it consists of 3 different parts. Okay, so this is the first one. It is delimited by semicolons. So this is the first part, as you can see. This is the so-called initial expression. That is to assign an initial value to the counter. The initial value is going to be the number the user is going to give us. So n. We have a variable called n, which is going to hold the value the user is going to give us. The second part here is the condition. The condition that is to be true to keep the loop running. The condition is as long as the counter, the index, is greater than 0. And last but not least, the third part is the so-called increment expression, that is to increment the counter. In other words, the step. The step is going to be -1, so I minus minus. This is an abbreviation in coding. It means I is equal to I minus 1. And now, simply, we are going to add the value of the counter each time the loop is executed. So x is equal to x plus I. You can also abbreviate it like this. And now all we have to do is write the value of x. So we're going to use the console class writeLine method, and the parameter is going to be our variable called x. So let's run the application. It should say, give me a number. Yes. 4. That's 10. It works because 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 makes 10. Okay, thank you for watching.